One here, just another video on the channel. So welcome back. Today we're just doing a little bit of course design. Just going into one of the projects that I've been working on. I've been working on actually for quite a while. Definitely heading back towards the start of the year. Came away from it because I didn't have as much information as I would have liked, so I kind of spent some time trying to get as much detail as I possibly could to come back and finish it. So last night or yesterday evening, I was plotting out the entire course, had the whole thing kind of plot out, laid out, and then this morning decided it wasn't kind of up to the standards I wanted to have it at, and which basically led me to deleting pretty much the last couple of holes. So we were just kind of hopping into the back nine here of Royal County Down. Um, hey Jack, how's it going, man? But yeah, like in weeks gone by, I've tried to do these like just course designer Q&As. Like if anyone had any questions, like how I do certain things, or maybe just like run some ideas and stuff like that. Um, but I think the last two times my mic hasn't been working. Pain in the ass, but I'm hoping you can all hear me now. I know Jack's there, so even if if he can confirm that he can actually hear me, that'd be great. I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking away. I thought I was talking to everyone, and I could see people come and go, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not for them. Turns out that after 5 minutes, my mic cut out, and yeah, couldn't hear a thing. Actually, what I might do is I might just hop onto YouTube there on my phone and just see if that's coming across. That'd be the best thing to do in this situation. Just see if that's coming. Oh yeah, cool. That's coming across there, perfect. And I can actually just see that the Jack popped in there. So are you playing the Pro Am? Is it a Pro Am? I think it's Pro Am. The Shenanigans Pro Am coming up in, I think, is it next week? Um, Looking forward to it. The President's Cup was a little bit of a letdown. Naturally enough, though, the teams were just a little bit unbalanced, and that just ended a little shorter uh, than we would have liked. I know for a fact myself, anyway, definitely would have preferred if that kind of continued on to the last day and there was more to play for. It being over after 3 days kind of killed it off a little bit. I know Justin was absolutely delighted with that, as any captain would be. But no, it would have been nicer if we got an extra couple of matches out of it. Got to play in the final day singles. Okay, so I'm just doing bits of tidying up. Like the front nine um, was a beta and has been a beta for months now. But I am going to be making some changes to it. Obviously, this was done well before I kind of got to grips with some other aspects of the designer. So, like the light rough, I'm actually just going to take away. We're just going to have fairway and rough here. It's not the longest of courses. Um, it's an easy enough course, I reckon. Like it should be. Obviously, you're going to have some high winds and stuff like that, but I want to. I feel like even with the wind, light rough kind of lets you off the hook a bit. So I want to take it away and just have a links course out there that just punishes you. A really nice links course, but one that you miss the fairway, that you do actually get punished for it, rather than being able to rescue birdies and stuff like that from the rough. So I'm just going to be hopping over and back kind of between what I have here on my phone. This is obviously an RCR. I tend to do like 99% of the courses I do are all RCRs. So this is going to be another one. It's based up in Newcastle in County Down, for those who are not aware of it, which is in the north of Ireland, and is pretty much rated as essentially the top course in the British Isles. So I want to make sure that the finished product actually lives up to the real thing, which will be hard, but we're definitely going to give it a go. Um, so let me see, because I'm working off a load of different material here. I have YouTube, I have different GPS and Google Earth and everything else going at the same time, so trying to cross over. How do you get your info? Oh, I'm actually just touching on that now. So it's different for each course. Most courses will have some form of course information through their website. So whether it's the overall distances, whether it's like kind of like a stroke saver, or whether it's like full on, they might have all that and actual flyovers as well. I think flyovers is the one thing that makes it, because like you can get all your distances and stuff like that from Google Earth or from the various apps that are there. But in order to get that look and feel, you kind of need those flyover videos, or at least some footage from tournaments that maybe have been held on courses. And that's not always ideal when the course you're looking for isn't that popular on a tour perspective, but is in terms of like world golf. Um, so what I'm using for this one is this course actually featured in Tiger Woods a couple of years ago. So I've got Tiger Woods, I've got YouTube flight. There's actually whole flyovers on YouTube. Um, there's I'm using Google Earth. I'm using another thing called 18 Birdies, which is giving me just a good insight into the exact elevation changes. Um, and what else? I have a couple. Then I also actually I have a friend of mine who is looking into the greens for me. His parents are like literally live right across the road from this course. So waiting on him just to get back with a little bit more information on the greens for me. That's why I've kind of left the 10th one here nice and flat. Just waiting to get a bit more information on that so I can put that together. But that's kind of what I tend to do. Like Celtic Manor would have been very similar. Um, I would have used, now there was a lot of information for that. Stroke savers, Ryder Cup footage, Tiger Woods, PGA Tour footage. Then there's obviously like vlogs and stuff like that. So Mark Crossfield did a few, Rick Shields. Um, they've all done kind of their vlogs as well. So it's so handy to get a real true perspective of how the course should look from a range of different angles, not just the from the tee to green and nothing else, and not getting the surrounding area. An awful lot of those guys will give you other angles, like they're not doing it on purpose, but just when they're filming what they're doing, you get to see an awful lot more of the course, and that kind of that worked out well for the Emirates as well. Rick Shields did 2 or 3 vlogs actually of the Emirates, so I was able to get quite an awful lot of the undulations, backgrounds, all that kind of thing from there. So that's kind of what I do. Not everybody works the same way. I know there's a couple of guys like to do it a bit different, but that's kind of how I like to do it. Right, so let me go to the flyover for hole 11. This 11th hole is actually quite a bit of fun. You're going to be teeing off back here, so you're going to have a bit of a blind tee shot. I have been nice, and I have placed a pole at the top of the hill, which is kind of a good idea of line. It's pretty much, it should take you down the right hand side of the fairway. Now, downside of the fairway is it all falls to the left hand side, and drastically does. I remember being at the Irish Open here a few years ago, and it just all falls down here. So essentially what you want to do is maybe take out a 3-wood, maybe driver if you really want to pick it down, but you'd want to be very accurate down the right hand side, and then let it just kind of meander down the fairway a bit and hope it doesn't run out. But the likelihood is the amount of shots I saw played from this area out here is just unreal. Like the people, I think, were just hitting it out here just to give themselves a bit of a flatter lie. They kind of took the punishment of ending up in the rough, and were just like, I'd rather have a flat lie from the rough than a side hill lie in the middle of the fairway. So I suppose it kind of it asks a couple of questions of you, that's for sure. Okay, so in behind here, we've got another. So yeah, I'm just going to stay on this for about half an hour. We'll see how it goes, and like I said, always happy to answer some questions or to give some or kind of walk through what exactly I'm doing, or you know, bits and pieces like that. Brace tool is wrong for this one. I think the flat tool is a bit better, because that bump I need to get rid of. And it's, I kind of got a bit overzealous when I was doing the right hand side of the 8th hole, and I kind of came across a bit too far. So I think the flat tool is what I'm looking for here. Do I take RCR requests or only do what you're interested in at the time? I do actually take requests. Absolutely. Some of the courses that I've done have just come from people who've asked, would I take a look at it? For example, the Emirates was actually a course my father suggested. He really loves the golf course, and asked me would I take a crack at it. So I did. He doesn't play this game at all. He just enjoys getting to see the finish results. Um, then let me see. Old Head was a request by the fella who runs the Magnolia National Golf Society. That's the handicapped one. And what other one was done by request? Celtic Manor. Celtic Manor came from a request that a guy on the forums was very interested in the in Wentworth. He gave me actually quite a bit of help with it, because he had walked it several times with the BMW Championship or BMW PGA Championship that was on there, and he gave me a huge amount of help with that. And then once that was done, he kind of he asked me would I think about taking on Celtic Manor, and to be honest, I got stuck into it, and the layout actually, or not the layout, but the flow of the course was very, very straightforward. I was very surprised at how easy I found it and how quick it was. And sure, once I saw how easy it worked, I was just like, I was all in. But what I tend to do is I do tend to stick with courses that are like Irish, UK, or European tour based, and the reason for that is it just comes down to, I suppose, knowledge about the courses themselves. I find that okay, obviously there's a good few courses in the States that I would consider myself to have quite a good bit of knowledge on, even though I've like never walked on them before, but through TV coverage, games, stuff like that, and just having a general interest in golf, you'd always have some bit of awareness over it. But I tend not to go with them, but that's not saying I never will. Um, I grew up around Joplin, Missouri, so courses I would ask for would be unknown courses, so not sure they could. Yeah, see, that's kind of just hitting on that point there. If I have some bit of awareness of it, then yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Um, like at the moment now, I've got 3 links courses. They're going to be the uh, the next batch of courses I'm doing. This is one of them here, which is Royal County Down. Um, then we're also going to have Carnoustie. I've done maybe 2 holes in it so far. Um, that one's not going to be like, it's essentially not going to be ready till TGC 2019. That's for sure. So I'm not kind of committing too much to that one at the moment. And then the other one then is the Hinch Golf Club, which is pretty much maybe half an hour or 40 minutes away from where I live. And that course is going to be hosting the Irish Open next year. So that's kind of the reason why I went for that one. It's pretty awesome to to have a local course host a European Tour event. So I was just straight away I was like, yeah, we're going with that one. Might do a little bit of planting here because I'm just trying to visualize the hole a bit, and I'm not really seeing it right now. So I'm just gonna maybe just drop a bit of planting in here and see what happens. That is not what I wanted. I know quite a few people don't like to use this multi-plant tool. I think it can be quite handy, especially if you want to get a good bit of work done as quickly as possible. Um, it definitely has some merit, but again, not everyone is. Got a conference call, be back if you're still on. Yeah, no worries, buddy. I'll keep plowing on with this here anyway. Okay, so just going to need to give that a couple of clicks, let that fill in a bit. I might need to raise that a little bit. It looks a bit low. Okay. Hey Vlad, how's it going, man? Okay, so that narrows up a little bit, so I'm going to make that a little smaller and let it kind of run as a bit of a funnel up to the... It's the handy thing. I think it's one of the handiest things about links courses, and I think everyone should start on links courses. Is they're usually pretty handy to design because there's like little to no trees at all. And I find tree planting is one of the things where an awful lot of people go wrong. I don't know if anyone kind of agrees with my opinion on that, but I find that um, planting is a bit of an art, and I think that if you start small, so minimal planting, which is usually links courses, all you're really planting is grass and brushes, or bushes. Um, that's all you're really planting. Then there's not much that can really go wrong with that. Whereas if you've got like a ton of trees, I've seen some courses that they probably could have done with a bit more work and stuff like that. But I think if you just kind of get used to the concept of it all, um, and then as you go along, then start to introduce more. Published new course, Tanabe Lakes Country Golf Club. Wanted to put more in, but started creaking. Used houses, chimneys to make the wall. I'm assuming that the oh, what's it called? The plant meter at the top. Is that what you're talking about? Maybe you couldn't put any more because that wasn't it wouldn't allow you to, or because I know I've had one or two courses like that. Wentworth, for example, couldn't put any more on that. That pretty much is completely full. So, oh yeah, you started to get a bit of lag. Yeah, there's nothing worse, and I find that it's the best way to avoid lag is to try and not centralize your entire planting. So you'll see there's some courses. Actually, a perfect example of it is that Eddington Castle or something it's called, where your man literally went and built a castle and then built a golf course around the castle afterwards. Um, stuff like that, when you've that much planting gone into one specific area, that can start to cause some, like that kind of stuttering or lag um, on courses, which kind of takes away from a course, especially ones that are really, really nice. I mean, I think the best example out there at the moment of a course that's kind of relatively popular is the Scottsdale course. And if you play that, I mean, there's 2 or 3 holes there that is just, oh, it's a joke, but it just comes down to the amount of planting that went on. And if you plant too much, and then the crowds don't help either. I've stopped adding crowds to my courses simply because it's just taking up way too much of the plant meter, and it's killing the overall enjoyment of the game. So I'd love to be. That's one thing I'm waiting on the developers to do, is to pretty much give us an option to um, have crowds, but not completely destroy the overall enjoyment of the course. So that'd be one thing I'm looking forward to. I know for a fact they're not planning on doing too much with the designer. Um, 18, yeah. See, sometimes it doesn't even need to have the plant meter full. Sometimes it just will um, start stuttering like that, or lagging, and it's a pain in the ass. And it's trying to balance out everything, that each hole has like a good proportion of planting, rather than it all being kind of stuck in the one area. Um, okay, that's starting to look way better now. I actually feel like that looks way more like the hole, which is perfect. Now what I want to do is, I still feel like that left looks a bit low down, so I'm just going to raise that up maybe about a foot or two. Just in around here, the first part's actually okay. It's just this section here needs to come up a bit. No, I said a foot or two, but I think how does that look? Okay. Yeah, that's much better there. It's hard to say, it's hard to judge it though in these, is that because when you've got all these yellow lines coming across the screen, you're trying to get the visual of everything, and next thing is just lines all in front of you. I was hoping that grass would be more than visual in 2019. Hold the ball up more, making harder to hit. Yeah, definitely. I would love, especially just in links. I mean, the other ones, I could get over. Maybe the countryside theme could do with it too. Is to have like long grass part of the actual template, like not having to go ahead and use the plant meter to generate it. Like, this is not enough long grass for a links template. I'm sorry, it's not. And the fact that you have to then go um, and add it in afterwards, taking up plant meter, um, and taking up time. I mean, it's a long, long time to go ahead and plant all the grass, make sure it's done properly, and make sure you've got it evenly proportioned, so you're not actually are creating a course that's full of lag. Um, there needs to be more than just these little straggly bits here. I would like to see the entire course done with it, and then what you can do then is you can go, like, if you lay down heavy rough, then your heavy rough that you lay down will kind of, so for example, let's say I had heavy rough like all along here, and what that would do then is it would get rid of the long grass. So it would basically go fairway, like light rough, heavy rough, and then into the long grass. And it just gives it a variation of cuts. Or even if I just decided, I could just go fairway, light rough, and then long grass is just there. So kind of like the way it is now, but I just want long grass as part of it. I think it's a pretty reasonable request for a Lynx team, that's for sure. But it's easy for me to say. It's all down to the developers at the end of the day, and whether or not they actually they see it the way I do, and usually they don't. um, okay, so in around this green, I've got a bit of fairway, and just kind of wraps around. So let's just not going to bother too much about measuring this out because I can get a good feel for what I have here. Create surfaces. Brush, no, spline. So roughly about here. I might have to knock a couple of those bushes back a little bit. And that comes to about there. To there. Let's bring it in here-ish. And I'm just going to extend it out a little bit so that it kind of overlaps it. There we go. Now, what I might go ahead and do is I have that bunker placed in there under a brush for the time being, but I find that when you use the brush for your bunkers and then put fairway around it, it creates that like little, I'm going to call it a fringe of rough around the bunker. So I think I am probably going to go ahead and change that later on so that I can get a more natural look. Oh, why did I only... that was a stupid thing to do. Why did I only go as far as there? I'm going to remove that waypoint as well. I find that if you have too many waypoints, that your lines get way more jaggedy. So let's just take a look at the back. Could do it starting another one here. Create surfaces. Fairway, spline, start it there, and again just wrap it the whole way around and want it to cut in just here on that bunker. Yeah, I find, again, I don't know, is it just something to do with the game, or is it just me in general, but I find that sometimes the splines just, they really don't want to work for you, and it's a pain in the ass sometimes because you're just trying to get something looking good and have it looking nice and sharp, and then you just get to it and you might as well, you could be pulling your hair out just trying to get it right, which is a little bit of a pain as well, but they are great. One thing I will always say when it comes to the courses that I design is that, like, greenkeepers are human. Greenkeepers aren't going to cut everything in an absolute perfect straight line. And at the end of the day, if there's a few like jaggedy bits, then that's fine. The way, and I suppose how I go ahead and try to polish off my course and stuff like that is I'll kind of get an overhead view. So let's say we'll just go back here and I'll kind of take a look and I'll just maybe about that close, sorry, here, and I will just go through, and if I see anything that stands out as being kind of just a bit off, then I'll go ahead. But I'm not going to be down here looking for all these jaggedy bits, and I'm just, because I could be there all day. Like that one there stood out to me early on, but so that deserves it. But if I have to go down here just to see it, then I'm not going to bother with it. It's a waste of time. You'll never get a course published at that rate. Here's another one here I spotted earlier on. But some of them can just be changed by messing around a little bit with your icons or waypoints, I should say, icons. Um, and they can all be changed that way. Some of them then just need to come along with a brush and just kind of go over them. So I put in what I want, and then I use brush to fill in the. Yeah, so I think that's exactly what Jack is just on about there. What I tend to do is I get a brush with a relatively thin line. I think the fuzzier ones are harder to work with. So maybe something like that there. I'm just going to give a rough idea. So there's an edge there that should. And there we go. And that one's ironed out. Done. The other fiddly to get width perfect when set up as 2 to 5 yard fairway. Sorry, 25. It just comes up weird here. As 25 yard fairway. Don't know how far to put the waypoint. Okay, so your base, the way I'm reading that is you're looking to have a fairway set up with 25 yards. Okay, so what I would tend to do there is, where am I going? Sculpt land. So we'll pretend I have a hole down and it's a dog leg left. So there's the hole. This is going to be your waypoint. That should be red realistically. What I would tend to do there is I would just pick a point in the middle, right, roughly in the middle. It's never gonna be exact, and go out, give or take 12 each side. And then you can have a rough idea of how wide you want your fairway to be. And then you can use that then to work and get some narrower ones. So let's say if that's T, how far? So your landing area, oh my god, this is a really short par 4. So let's say the landing area is going to be in around 280. So what you could decide to do then is if you wanted to have it a little narrower, you could just, let's say I want to have like maybe a 10 yard gap as opposed to 25. Just go 5 that way and 5 that way. This wouldn't really work for RCRs obviously because your measurement's going to be completely different. So then, and let's say you want to, and then you were kind of okay with it being a little wider, just draw a random line there and maybe have the fairway like 45, 40 yards wider, and you just kind of create a little bit of a pattern for yourself. So then you can use these edge marks then to be the edges of your fairway on both sides. So I think that's what you were talking about when you were saying trying to get the 25 yard wide fairways. That's a good way to do it. It all just depends on what way you want to set up your hole, but that's kind of how I would do it if I was building a fantasy course. I don't build too many of them, so I can't speak from too much experience there, but to me, that's how I would go about it, and that's how I would start it. Okay, so let's get the rest of this fairway filled in and stop yapping. It's one thing you'll notice about me, guys, especially for those who tune into the videos quite a bit, is I do tend to get talking. The minute you start me on a topic, and especially a topic that but when spline can't hit the right distance. What do you mean you can't hit the right distance? As in, like it still tends to be a bit longer or a bit wider, I should say, than the 25. Because you also have the option. So let's say, because I do know the spline takes the center point. So what you can do there is, let's just go back out here. So let's say the fairway's starting somewhere back here. We're going to do a bit of a dog leg. What you could do then is, because the center point of that of the spline isn't going to be the edge of the fairway is actually going to be that side on the right. What you could do is you could either bring it in here and work that way, use the edges, or you could just, I suppose, use the way that I've just done it there, and you can manipulate how wide your spline's actually going to be. So, like, that's just a random right hand side of the fairway I've put in there. And what I can do is I can just go into edit, I can make it really narrow, so I can make it about a yard wide, which sadly doesn't show up because it's that narrow. Or what I could do is I could make it like incredibly wide. No, you're not sidetracking me at all. Like, I mean, the whole point of these videos is to try and share some information, pick up some bits and pieces myself. I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't know everything there is. I mean, like I've had to go on to watch people's YouTube videos and stuff like that to pick up the things I know. So definitely not. I sidetrack myself. Don't it's not on you, buddy. That's all on me. I can get so wrapped up in certain things, and I'm just waffling on for days like I am now. And yeah, as long as as long as I get back to what I was doing, I'm perfectly okay. Okay. Do, do, do. Oh man. So, who do we reckon's going to win the PGA Championship this week? Not not entirely sure how Tiger's going to fare out this week. Um, I kind of felt like when he took the lead in Carnoustie a few weeks ago that, you know, this was it. This is, Tiger's back. He's going to push on here and he's going to win. And then he didn't. And it really kind of reinforces the whole, like, that old age Tiger is gone. Like, he's, like, he's just a thing of the past. Not that he's a thing of the past, but that old Tiger is a thing of the past. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think he'll do it. Um, there's a couple of guys there in form, but it'd be unusual to. I'd be very surprised, very, very, very surprised, um, if Tiger was to step up and get it done. Okay, so I have plugged the mic back in. Is it working for you guys? Okay, I can hear myself on YouTube, so that's good. Sorry about that, guys. That's kind of the issue I was having a couple of weeks ago. Which which kind of stopped me doing these kind of videos. I was very unsure if the mic was gonna keep flipping in and out, but I don't know where I dropped off. Um, it probably was talking about the PGA Championship, but yeah, I think it's anyone's game. But there's a couple of guys came into form, maybe just around the PGA, and then there's obviously going to be those guys that are looking for their spot in the Ryder Cup team. That's going to be finishing up soon. Sergio needs to up his game big time. Thomas Bjorn came out and said that. And then you've got the guys then like Poulter, Fleetwood, who are all played pretty well, kind of fell away a little bit towards the end. Then you've obviously got, Francesco Molinari, who is pretty much having the year of his life right now. So he's in with a chance as well. But I don't think so. You tend to see, and it's not in all major winners, but in some major winners, you tend to see they have a bit of a hangover um, after a first major win. So I do expect Molinari to have that kind of a hangover. He'll play, he'll show up, he'll do okay, but yeah, I don't see a big performance from Molinari. Now he could surprise me. Um, like you have to, I remember Harrington. Actually, no, that was Harrington's second British Open, so that doesn't count. Um, I was going to say Harrington was kind of one of the few who didn't have the hangover, but he won. He won a Carnoustie first in '07, then he won Birkdale in '08, and then won the PGA Championship a few weeks later. So yeah, that was his second and third major, so that doesn't count. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Thomas Storm's last tournament. I didn't actually watch anything there at the week just gone by. I didn't watch Firestone at all. I kept it up to speed with it a little bit, but didn't really didn't really watch any of it. I was kind of all golfed out after the Open Championship, and then with the PGA coming up this week and kind of the build up to the Ryder Cup. I've been just keeping myself a little bit out of it so I don't get bored of it when it gets to the best part of the year, and then you got the FedEx playoffs as well. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play these two holes. These are the two that I've kind of been working on the last 24 hours. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of a whirl, and I might just leave it at that for today. I'll obviously keep working on the background, but I think it was just nice to pop on for a chat, show you guys what I was up to and what I was doing. This is probably going to stop me from playing more rounds than I would like to. Again, it tends to be it. Usually when I'm not building courses is when I'm playing my best golf on this, and yeah, I haven't been playing my best golf recently, but I'm okay with that. I've been churning out courses a lot lately, so especially with Celtic Manor, I put an awful lot of time into that. Vlad says just can't see Europe win this year. Uh, to be honest, I can see it better than I could last or 2 years ago. 2 years ago, team was not very very good. An awful lot of guys made it onto that team that were actually um, they were basically hitting the bat. Danny Willett obviously got in because he the Matt have a fantastic team as well to win it. But I do think the European team is a little stronger than people give it or people give them credit for. I'm actually just gonna pull up here and see what the team is looking like. So I think this is just a little 6 iron. Oh, so apparently my internet connection is taking a little bit of a drop. Um, which is a pain in the ass. But I suppose that's good timing because I'm. But what was I saying? Ryder Cup. Yeah, let's go back and take a look at that team. So, yeah, so at the moment we've got big time form right now. Justin Rose has been just immense over the last few years. Then you've got Tyrrell Hatton, so that's going to be he copes with the pressures of the Ryder Cup. And you've got Tommy Fleetwood, who, you know, we all know Tommy. He's an absolutely fantastic player, incredibly consistent. I mean, it's just no matter what the event is, he always seems to show up. And then who? So that's the. Let me see. That's done by world points. So then, through to the European points, then we've got Rory McIlroy. So if Rory can get the putter going towards the end of the year, no reason why he can't be a bit of a threat. Um, then you've got John Ram. Again, he's a bit hit and miss lately. Tommy sucks. I think he was due one, to be fair. He's played incredibly well throughout all the majors and did very well to get up the leaderboard. But yeah, a little bit of a dodgy weekend, which, to be fair, was probably due. So yeah, John Ram, solid on his day, a little bit hit and miss lately, a couple of miscuts here and there. Then you've got Alex Noren, who's again having an incredible year, and Paul Casey, a bit of a resurgence as well. He obviously put himself back in the running to be on the Ryder Cup team again. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And then you've got like so many other players there that are, you know, not even in the team yet. Henrik Stenson, Russell Knox, Garcia, Fitzpatrick, Poulter. Um, who else is there? Eddie Pepperell. Um, so many, and that's just the Europeans tour. Let's just go over to the other one again. Who else hasn't? Cabrera Bayo hasn't made the team, and there's Chris Wood and stuff like that on the fringe as well. So it's a pretty good team, but it'll be interesting. Let's go over and see what the American one is looking like right now. So you've got DJ. You literally go to the first three names and you got like the three longest hitters on tour, and it's just like, wow. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas. Then you got Patrick Reed, Bubba Watson, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, and Webb Simpson. So like, there's not exactly. That's why I think we will struggle. Too many off their game. I wouldn't say too many off their game. Just. But then again, Ryder, like, how many times? I don't know if you go through the history. How many times did Seve get picked for a team when he was completely off form, and when he's one of the best Ryder Cup players we ever had? Torbjorn Olesen is actually there as well. I missed out on him. But like that American team, okay, so you've got DJ, who, okay, a poor enough British Open, bounced back straight away the next week with a win, so he's looking good. Koepka then back-to-back US Open champion, so he's pretty good. Justin Thomas has kind of run a bit stale lately, I think. Okay, fair enough. He did well at the weekend, but all year long he was kind of very hit and miss. I think he had an opportunity to go to world number one around the time of the match play earlier on the season, missed it, and then kind of fell off the horse a little bit. Didn't really get or keep it going from that point, and he obviously started to get it back. Then you've got Patrick Reed, Masters champion. I really don't like Patrick Reed. And I think that's pretty much the consensus of an awful lot of people out there. I'm going to move on from him nice and quick. Bubba won twice early this year, maybe three times. He definitely won at Riviera, and I think he won another one as well. But again, kind of running a bit stale. Jordan Spieth, he's up there, but I don't think his game is really where it needs to be. Ricky Fowler, the exact same, and Webb Simpson's kind of like a resurging character. Definitely hasn't really done much since 2010. I think it was 2012 at Medina. He was involved in that, and then pretty much just kind of fell away. Then outside of that, then you've got some amount of players that could all do something. Like you've DeChambeau, Mickelson, Schauffele, Kuchar, Finau, Stanley, Kisner. Um, you've Kevin Na as well, Tiger, Zach Johnson. So there's an awful lot of players, and I think that's where the danger is at for Europe right now. It's not in the actual the the first eight. I think it's in what comes afterwards. I think the Americans have so much strength to pull in off the actual. I'm going to bail on this. I'm actually no way. I'm still stuck here on the tee. Um, but they've so much strength to call in from, and so many really really good seasoned players. I think they will pick Mickelson. I think they'd be wrong not to. He's won this year already. He's played in the Ryder Cup since. Oh, let me see. He played 97. Was 97 his first one? No, I think he played a few more than that. I would go 90. I would definitely say 93 or 95 was his first Ryder Cup, and he's pretty much played in all of them since then. So, yeah, I mean, you want him in his team. He's a bit of that kind of like team talisman. He is very opinionated. That's fair enough, but at the end of the day, I mean, he does speak his mind, and it's very rare that he's actually wrong. Oh, I wasn't far off. 1995. I knew he played Valderrama for sure. I knew if that was Tiger's first. I wasn't sure if it was both their first. Um, but yeah, I definitely think Mickelson will get the pick. Tiger needs a big week. Tiger's a bit off the pace at the moment. I think he's 20th on the list or something. So he needs a bit of work. I think himself and Garcia are kind of in that same position. If Lee Westwood gets a pick this year, I swear to God, I will throw my shoe through the television, and I will refuse to watch the Ryder Cup. I am sorry, but he didn't deserve to be there 2 years ago. Russell Knox did, and to be honest, I think 2010 should have been his last Ryder Cup. I don't know. 2012, he was essentially useless. No, he isn't. Like it's awful to say he was useless, but he didn't do very much, and I don't think he really deserved to be there. And did he contribute much in 2014? Did he play in 2014? I can't remember. But 2012, 2016, not good enough, and I really don't think he should be there this year. European picks, I think, would be Garcia and Stenson, and I think he'd bring in some newbies. Maybe Thorbjorn Olesen might get one, but hard to know. Anyway, I've been yapping on there for nearly half an hour longer than I was expecting to, so I'm going to call it there for now. But I'd love to know your thoughts on Ryder Cup. Who's going to get those picks? Because that's kind of what's once the PGA is over this week, that's kind of what the focus is going to turn to. Yeah, he got some 0 points there. I think Medina was the one that I really felt it was poor. Like he played very, very poor on the first day, and I think it was the first session on the first day, and Olazabal kept putting him out, and it was really annoying me. I was like, he doesn't deserve to be there. He might have all the experience, but he hasn't got the game. So that kind of annoyed me. But yeah, that's kind of it. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'd be interested to know all your thoughts on the Ryder Cup and the PGA that's coming up this week. Hope you enjoyed watching the video, and we'll chat to you all very soon. Good luck, guys.